Hello and welcome to Love Talk. Today we're going to talk about friendship between the opposite sex. Does it work? Does it not? What do you think, Elena?
It depends. I don't think it does, but some people seem to believe it works.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this because this is a very gray area. Of course, a man cannot be completely isolated from women, or in the world because he's married, or vice versa, because they are women and men wherever you go. But friendship, does it work? We'll find out. In fact, we have here in the studio with us today Malcolm, who's experienced this firsthand, and he'll be telling us what he experienced in these friendships with the opposite sex. But before that, let's see what the people in the streets of London had to say about this.
Hey Love Talk, I'm here at Covent Garden to find out from the general public what they think about partners having friends with the opposite sex. So let's go and find out their opinions.
I think it's fine. I don't think there's any problem with it because you know that they're yours and and you can be friends with them too. So
Okay, and you?
I would say the same, yeah, definitely.
So what would you think about, for example, if the friend called around about 1 a.m. in the morning?
We've actually had this before, I did get a little bit funny about it, but it's all alright in the end. It's just a friend.
We shook hands afterwards.
Yeah. So you agree with the 1 a.m. phone calls?
Not really, no. No, it wasn't very good.
All right then, thanks guys.
I wouldn't mind my partner to have friends with opposite sex, and I hope she wouldn't mind me having friends with opposite sex.
Would you put limits on that friendship?
Friendship being the limit? No, I wouldn't. I mean, for my opinion, being in the relationship with someone means you kind of trust the person you're with. So in that case, you don't really need to worry about it. And if it's friendship, that's fine. So I wouldn't put any limits, no. And I wouldn't like any limits to be put on me, because if it's friendship, then it's just friendship, isn't it?
Well, I think it's very healthy. I don't see why that should be a problem. You're comfortable in your relationship with the person. What's the problem?
I think it's fine. My wife's got friends of the opposite sex. In fact, she prefers to have male friends because they're less. I don't know how to put this. There's less fights and less arguments that go on when you've got a male. That's what she's found anyway. I don't mind it, but it depends on the type of relationship and who it is, I guess.
You can't have the opposite sex calling at any time whatsoever. There has to be boundaries. That's what I'm getting at. There needs to be really distinct boundaries because some people might not be happy about it. I don't think you should cut ties with the opposite sex because you've had friends before possibly you met your potential partner. However, there definitely needs to be distinct boundaries because there's a lot of room for misinterpretation. So that needs to be in there. Yeah.
And you?
I agree, but I think you can have friends with the opposite sex. A lot of people do say that you can't. It's not because someone's going to have feelings for the other and want there's some kind of sexual tension. But I believe that you can be friends with the opposite sex. But in terms of if you do have a partner, because of the things might get misconstrued, so you need to make sure that both partners are happy and comfortable with the situation.
I think it doesn't really matter who your friends are, as long as they're good friends to you, and I mean, like I've got a lot of friends that are girls, and you've got a lot of friends that are boys, and like we said, there's not always got to be something like sexual or anything about having friends with the opposite sex. It's just sometimes you get on with people from school, you've known them throughout your whole life, nothing's going to ever happen with them, that you're just really, really good friends. So it doesn't really make any difference whatsoever if they're a boy or a girl or whatever.
So that's what the people in London think about friendships with the opposite sex. And this is a tricky one because we have to remember that when Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were married, he was doing a movie with Angelina Jolie, right? And she was a colleague at work, and I'm sure they started as friends and that developed into something else.
Oh yes, who knows what happened there, but it's like when it's like when we met. We became friends first, isn't it? So you see?
Yeah, so it's a tricky one, and you can't. I mean, I'm married to Elena. We can't say, "Oh, you're not going to talk to any men, and she can't say to me, you're not going to talk to any women, because we live in a world where it's normal to have women and men at work.
You have people around you. You can't just ignore people.
Yeah.
But there's a few things I think you should do to just make sure that, you know, it won't affect your relationship.
Yeah, and friendship is a strong word. We're talking about friendships with the opposite sex. It usually can develop into something else. But by the way, we have someone here in the studio with us who's experienced this firsthand. We're going to ask him a couple of questions just to start off with. Right, Malcolm?
Yes, yes.
So
Hi.
you've experienced this before?
I have. I've had a lot of experiences with, you know, having friendship with the opposite sex. But what I realized was every friendship that got a bit too close, it always ended up leading on to something else. So, you know, like now I have friends of the opposite sex, but then obviously I know limits, I have my boundaries. You know, I can't say, okay, let's just go out, me and you, we're gonna go out and watch a movie, because it could become a risk, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I prefer to have male friends, but I do have female friends, but I just have limits with the opposite sex.
And I would even say, I would go as far as saying that you know, you have friends and you have acquaintances, and friends are people that you spend a lot of time with.
Yes.
Right?
Indeed.
But I think if you start spending a lot of time with a female counterpart, then it can develop into something else.
Just picture this in your mind, James. We are friends, very good friends, and then we go for a walk in the park, and I'm very upset because, you know, I had an argument with my boyfriend or my husband.
Then I say, it's okay,
isn't it?
it's gonna be all right.
And then you know, this is not a ground where you want to be
and
stepping on.
And when you least expect,
there's feelings.
That holding of hands, that it's going to be all right, can turn into a kiss and a hug, and
you know, and this is not gonna. It's dangerous. Let's put it that way.
Very dangerous. So you experienced this, and
yes.
what was your experience of this in the past?
Well, one of them was actually something similar to that. I had a friend, and she was explaining something that she was going through. It wasn't to do with a partner. She was single at the time, but she had a problem in the family, and you know, she decided to let me know what happened. And obviously, trying to be a good friend, I was like, oh, everything is okay. And it led to, you know, the holding of hands, looking into each other's eyes. And then,
you see, this is not just our word.
Yes.
it actually happened. And then from there, feelings started to develop. And then, you know, oh, I like you. Oh, I like you too. And it got a bit hectic, because then the friendship barrier or the acquaintance barrier was broken there and then. And then when we did, you know, break up, it was like, okay, we're not friends anymore. We don't want to see each other. We don't want to be near each other. So it became a big problem. So that was one of the experiences.
Yeah, and Malcolm, afterwards, he'll be telling us about another experience he had where one of his girlfriends, a long-term relationship that he had. But we'll talk more about that. But
can I just read one quick comment from Facebook?
Yeah.
We've got a Facebook page, which is Love Talk Show. And we asked the following question: what do you think about your partner having a friend of the opposite sex? Or how would you feel if your future partner has a friend of the opposite sex? Let me quickly see. Let's read Liz Marie's one. She says, I think it depends on the situation. Sometimes you can have friends that are like family that you knew before you knew your partner. So you wouldn't cut them off after you meet your partner. She's right. The nature of your friendship and the way that you communicate would have to change, though, because you know, you can't be as close as before. Like, oh, let's go out for an ice cream all the time, and you spend more time with your friend than your partner.
Yeah, and even this thing of the ice cream, I think it's very dangerous, because you know, the thing is this, is that, okay, they're a close friend, then you go out for an ice cream, but you know, do you really go out for an ice cream with a female friend?
Of course, sometimes you go for something else. You go to watch a game.
But that's the thing. The thing is that it's not only what it can be developed to. You also have to see that, for example, what are people's perceptions of that? Imagine that you have people who really respect you. You have someone that you just started dating. You know, that's going to bring some weird looks, because that's not the norm, right?
But also, if that friend of yours is very needy, feels very lonely. He is usually complaining that, oh, it's been difficult to find someone, and then you are always with him. You know, it's okay. We're not saying that you shouldn't have friends. You know, come on, we are free. People are free, but we are just trying to show you where this can lead. What it can, you know, what it.
And Lisa Marie spoke about family friends. This is different. For example, you have a cousin. You grew up with your cousin. That's different, right? Of course, you are friends. I think even then there has to be barriers. I mean, Elena knows that I have
limits.
Elena knows that I had a cousin who was a female cousin who was
too much, you know,
too close, right? But you know, but that's the thing. Friendships between male and females, usually they tend not to work. I mean, when we say that, and we'll explain this better later, it's just that, you know, between a male and a female, there's always that. It's not the same as a man, because a man, you talking to him, then you do like this, yeah, man.
there's electricity, like they say.
Yeah, between a man and a woman, usually there's this kind of electricity that can happen. That doesn't happen between two women or two men.
Or brother and sister.
Exactly. So, you know, you have to be very careful. But we'll teach you how to deal with this a little bit later on. I think we have another comment, right?
Yes, and then we asked as well.
I think from that same question, there's another comment.
Yes, it's from Susanna. She also says basically that she doesn't believe, well, actually, she says she doesn't believe in friendship between a man and a woman. She thinks that, you know, it's not appropriate. So she's a bit radical when she says that. She's not like Liz Marie, who says it depends. So she doesn't believe in friendship, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you're on a relationship, you shouldn't have any. You shouldn't hang around with people of the opposite sex.
Well, I'm almost with you, Susanna. I'm almost thinking like you, but I think we have to.
There's reasons.
Yeah, there has to. You know, I think if you work in an environment where there is someone there of the opposite sex, you're always going to talk to the person. You know, you're always going to be. You're in the same environment, but is that a friendship? I don't think that has to be a friendship, right? That's not really a friendship.
But then again, it's like the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt situation. They became they started as colleagues. So, you know, it depends.
But I'm sure he invited her for lunch one day. Look, let's talk about work over lunch. And that's
maybe
where
she did, you don't know.
Yeah, but that's where the barrier can be crossed.
Yes.
Okay, since we spoke about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, let's see now the latest celebrity news on this subject, and we'll be right back.
As the 55th Annual Grammy Awards kicked off recently in Los Angeles, Chris Brown and Rihanna picked the biggest night of the music calendar to make their first public appearance since rekindling their controversial romance. If that wasn't enough surprise for the night, Rihanna sparked rumors of an engagement to Chris Brown by wearing a diamond eternity band on her ring finger, an action which caused chaos on Twitter, while some of her fans suggested that ring was worn as an accessory and did not mean anything. According to sources, Rihanna isn't too bothered about what people think about her on and off relationship with Chris Brown. Also sparking rumors of an engagement are Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, who sported a golden ring with the initials KW on her ring finger, which was worn like an engagement band. Even though her divorce from ex-husband Chris Humphries is far from finalized, could her boyfriend and father of her baby actually have proposed? Well, sources say this is completely untrue. Kanye West probably won't propose until her divorce is final, as she is currently still legally married. Kim Kardashian said to be stressed by the divorce proceedings, which are putting her unborn baby at risk. Oh, what a tangled web these celebrities weave from one relationship to another. Could they ever get it right?
Welcome back. Today we're talking about friendships with the opposite sex, and this is more of a problem, especially if you're in a relationship. You really need to ask yourself how healthy that so-called friendship is. We said earlier that there are friendships, but there's also acquaintances, and you knowing someone doesn't mean that you have to be a friend, spending a lot of time with the person. Because another thing people have to remember, Lena, is that I don't think you would be very comfortable with me talking and chatting to a female friend on the phone for like half an hour every day, and I would say, no, she's just my friend. Maybe she is, but how would that make you feel as a woman?
Well, I didn't like your cousin to be that close. Imagine.
Yes.
No, but that's me, of course. I don't like it. You know, because if you have something to say, you talk.
Yeah.
You know, of course you can call your friends. Okay, I'm not gonna be, you know, like they say, square and say no.
But
you
we're
can't
talking
call
about
your friend.
female or male, the opposite
I know,
sex. Right? Yeah.
Even so, the person can call you, but you know, depending on what time it is and what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
You know.
And the thing is, for example, if it makes the other person uncomfortable, the other person in the relationship, if the person is not comfortable with that, then you have to say, okay, if I would be uncomfortable with a friendship that he has or she has, what would I want her to do it? Oh, but I don't think it's fair for her to let go of her friends, male friends. Okay, but I think that relationship, that marriage or that relationship is more important than you being close to that person who maybe is not even related to you. And that's actually what happened to you, right,
Yes,
Malcolm?
yes.
You were in a long-term relationship for how long?
For 2 years, actually.
2 years. What was the story there?
First of all, we did start as friends. You know, we used to.
So you started as friends.
As friends.
You see that
There you go.
it's two relationships now that he had that started off as friends.
Yeah.
So be careful. That's dangerous ground, right?
Yeah, and it started off, we was working together, like we was doing projects together, and then, you know, speaking over the phone, then 10 minutes will become 30 minutes, 1 hour, every single day, and then, you know, we were going out for 2 years. But before, she was a tomboy, so she used to have a lot of male friends. And when she said that, I was like, oh, okay, all right then, so maybe we'll have a few things in common. But then, because she still had some of her male friends, sometimes they will call, or she will call, and it used to like disturb me, because I was thinking, if that was me and I was calling a girl, you know, at some crazy hours in the night or early in the morning, you would have problems with it. And I had a lot of problems with that, because I was thinking,
Why did you have a problem with that?
because it was like, what did you have to say to them for so long that you couldn't say to me? You know, that was the problem. And then as well as that, you know, sometimes they will, you know, share experiences or problems that they were going through, and I would think, okay, you have a dad, you have a brother, you have me, why do you have to go and speak to that person? So it became a problem, and, you know, it brought a lot of arguments.
Let me just ask, did that eventually lead to her being unfaithful, or that didn't actually happen?
No,
it
that
didn't happen.
That didn't happen. But then what happened was, I thought, okay, if she can have friends, then I can have friends too. And
female friends.
Yeah, female friends. And then that led to me actually being unfaithful.
Right.
You know, I was just trying to get, you know, my own back at her, but then it led to me
You were
being
frustrated
unfaithful.
with.
You know, so.
You were just like another friend, maybe, isn't it? You
Yeah.
felt as another friend.
You know, because what she was explaining was what we was going through to her male friend. So then I thought, okay, I need to go and, you know, do the same thing. So I did it to a female friend.
So you see, sorry to interrupt you there, another big mistake. You can have friends, and this, you should never do this, even with your family members, to tell them about what's going on in your relationship. It's private.
Yeah.
Speak to the person first, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's.
And not only that, when you expose certain problems, when you expose certain things in about your personal life to someone, that lets the person into a space that is private, and that person feels special. And if the person feels special, they feel, wow, she's confiding in me, or he's confiding in me, and then things go further.
It's like a snowball, and then she will call you with her own problems, and then you call her back, and you know,
exactly.
That's how it all starts, isn't it?
Yeah, and it became.
But what happened next?
After that, we ended up splitting up. But then the problem is that, like the previous relationship, you know, the friendship was just absolutely destroyed, because we were dating for 2 years. So family, she knew my family, I knew her family, and everything just stopped there and then, you know. So the friendship that we had before, and, you know, working together, that couldn't work anymore, because it's like, okay, we were friends, but now we was boyfriend and girlfriend, and now because it's not working anymore, the friendship can't work either. So, and something that I learned from that is, if you're gonna have a friend, or let me say a colleague of the opposite sex, that's how it has to remain, just as we work together. And maybe if we are gonna go out, we go out as a group, you know,
Exactly.
with other males, other female, and we all go out together, but just me and you, we can't do that at all.
One-to-one coffee break.
Yeah.
That's very important what you just said. You have some comments there, Helena?
Yeah, I've got many actually. I've got someone, Anna said yes, they can be friends. Still, as an answer to your question.
Right.
Also, Desiree says, I think there is a problem with men having. She said, I don't think there is a problem with men having female friends or associates. I'm just not sure what they would need to talk about. I don't really see the need for my partner to have a female friend when I'm not only his partner but his best friend.
So, but she said,
she doesn't agree.
Look, the contradiction. She said, I don't think there's a problem, but I don't know what they would be talking about, so I don't agree.
What is that for, kind of thing?
So really, you're contradicting yourself, Desiree. But I agree with you. I agree with you, and I'll give you my views at the end. But I think it's very tricky. And like you said, you know, if you have someone at work that you work together at school, whatever it is, or in a group that you guys spend time together, that's okay. In a group, in a work environment, you have to go for a meeting together in a group is okay. But even so, it's
you have to. I think it's part of an adult world. You are, if you are a responsible person, you know what you want out of your life. You know what you're doing with your life. You are dating or you're married. Even if you are in a group with colleagues or friends, and if you notice this particular person is giving you a funny look, you know, you've got to.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I need to be careful. I need to avoid this person, or be careful.
In fact, I have a family member that, you know, he was dating someone for many years, and someone at work that was really close to him, you know, got so close that eventually things went further, and it was a problem. So the thing is, you have to be very careful. Well, we went for a date, myself and Helena, to a very nice restaurant called La Porchetta. I hope that's how you pronounce it, La Porchetta, in central London, in Upper Street. A very nice place for you to go and enjoy some nice Italian food. And if you'd like to go there and check it out, feel free to do so. Let's see how it went. Well, we had a really nice time there. Food was delicious.
Yeah, and it's a nice place for you to go with your partner, you know, just for some time alone. But I just wanted to remind our viewers at home that we have a Facebook page, as I mentioned before. Also, and you can read the rest of the comments of what people think about this on this subject. And also, you can also visit our website, which is lovetalkshow.tv, and take part in everything that's going to be, that's going on in there. Okay.
And here's the thing about friendships with the opposite sex. In my opinion, it doesn't really work, and it doesn't work for two reasons. First of all, you can count how many friends you have on one hand, right? I probably have 2, 3 good friends. The rest are acquaintances. So you can't really mix the two. Now, if you are to have female acquaintances, everybody has. When you go into the realms of friendship, then it becomes a problem, because a friend is a person that you spend a lot of time with. A friend is someone that you talk about your problems with. And when you start doing that with someone of the opposite sex, even though there may not be any intention from you to take that any further, you don't know what's going on in the other person's mind. That's the problem. For you, maybe that conversation is strictly as friends, but you don't know what goes on in the mind of the other person. Maybe that person who's also married, who also has a boyfriend, a girlfriend, is going through a tough time in their relationship, and you giving attention to them may send across the wrong signals. So this is very important. It's important that if you have a friend at work, or a colleague at work rather, keep it professional. If it's a family friend, then of course it's different, if the person is related to you. But if you are in a relationship, always remember to see how the other person feels about that. Do they feel comfortable with it? Do they not? And if they don't, then you should treasure your relationship more than any colleagues or acquaintances that you have. Okay? Malcolm, thank you for coming.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for sharing your experience.
No problem.
Until next time, have a wonderful night.